Military advisor Catharanio stood before the assembled Vailthani troops, his pale, thin hands clasped behind his back as he surveyed the nervous faces before him. The briefing room aboard the diplomatic vessel Reconciliation hummed with the quiet tension that had defined human Vailthani relations since the war ended 6 months ago. The Vailthani soldiers before him were typical of their dying race. White skin so thin it was almost translucent, adapted for their homeworld Vailthoris, where their failing star cast barely enough light to sustain life. They had ventured into the warmth of human space seeking new worlds, only to learn that humans did not appreciate uninvited guests. As you all know, Catharanius began, his voice carrying the weight of experience, the Treaty of Titan requires cultural exchange visits between our species. I have just returned from a 30-day diplomatic mission to Earth, and Command has asked me to prepare you for what you might encounter. A young soldier near the back raised her hand. Sir, is it true what they say about humans, that they're as dangerous as the war reports claimed? Catharanios's pale features tightened in what might have been a smile. Soldier Nexoralith, after what we witnessed during the war, that question answers itself. But what I learned on Earth, what I really learned, is far more complex than our military assessments suggested. He activated the holographic display, showing images of Earth's blue-green surface. So bright it made his light-sensitive eyes water even through the filters. The humans insisted on giving me what they called the full tour. They wanted to show me their world, their culture, their daily life. I expected military installations, weapons demonstrations, shows of force designed to intimidate. And, prompted Lieutenant Vexiconis, instead they took me to something called a park. The assembled soldiers exchanged confused glances. A park, sir? Nexoralith asked. A large area of maintained green space within their urban centers. My human escort, a diplomat named Mitchell Edwards, though everyone called him Bob for reasons I never understood, explained that humans visit these places for something called relaxation. I was skeptical naturally. This was clearly some form of psychological warfare. Catharanios paused, his expression growing distant. We were walking along a paved pathway when Bob suddenly grabbed my arm. I immediately prepared for combat. Clearly, we were under attack. But Bob wasn't looking at enemy forces. He was staring at a small body of water where several white and gray creatures were floating peacefully. Enemy biologicals? Lieutenant Vexaconis asked, leaning forward. That's what I assumed. These creatures, Geese, Bob called them, were roughly the size of a human torso with long necks and what appeared to be natural armor plating. I began calculating tactical responses, but Bob was backing away. The human was retreating? Not retreating, fleeing, he said, and I quote, "Oh, hell no. Catharanios, we need to go now." Catharanios activated another holographic image. A peaceful-looking goose paddling across a pond. I was confused. Here was a human, a member of the species that had defeated our entire battle fleet using nothing but improvised weapons and sheer audacity, and he was terrified of what appeared to be a harmless water bird. "What happened next, sir?" asked a soldier from the middle ranks. Some of the creatures noticed us. It began moving in our direction, making what I can only describe as aggressive vocalizations. Bob grabbed my arm and said, "Run, just run, don't look back." The room fell silent. So I ran. Not because I feared the creature, but because I was trying to understand why Bob feared it. Here was a human who worked in interspecies diplomacy, who dealt with alien races as a matter of routine, and he was genuinely terrified of a water bird. Catharanios paused to let this sink in. Later, when we had reached what Bob deemed a safe distance, I asked him to explain. He said geese were pure evil and would chase you down and mess you up, and that they remember faces and hold grudges. He was joking, surely. Lieutenant Vexaconis said. That's what I thought. So I asked other humans about geese. The responses were consistent. A human soldier, a decorated veteran of their Antarctic campaign, told me he would rather face a grizzly bear than an angry goose. When I asked why, he explained that bears will just kill you quickly, but geese will bite your wee-wee for fun. It's pure evil. Nexarolith's pale complexion somehow managed to grow even whiter. Sir, you're saying that humans, the same humans who defeated us using nothing but scrap metal and determination, are afraid of birds? Not birds, soldier, specifically geese. I tested this extensively during my visit. Humans show no fear of other avian species. Eagles, hawks, even something called an ostrich that stands taller than most humans. But geese are different. Kitharaneos activated a video feed showing a human park ranger being chased by an angry goose. Watch this footage. A trained human outdoorsman, equipped with protective gear, running in genuine terror from a creature that weighs less than 5 kilograms. The goose pursues relentlessly, demonstrating what can only be described as tactical persistence. The soldiers watched in amazement as the goose chased the human across a field, wings spread, neck extended, honking aggressively. I decided to conduct a field experiment, Kitharaneos continued. I approached one of these creatures myself, thinking to demonstrate Vailthani's superiority over Earth fauna. And Kitharaneos' already pale skin somehow grew even more translucent. The creature attacked immediately. No provocation, no warning. It somehow knew I was a threat, despite being a completely unknown species. It pursued me for over 200 meters, demonstrating flight capabilities, ground speed, and what I can only describe as tactical intelligence. You were defeated by a goose, sir? Nexarolith asked quietly. Not defeated, strategically repositioned, but the experience was educational. These creatures possess several attributes that make them uniquely formidable. They are territorial to an extreme degree. They show no fear of larger opponents. They coordinate with other geese to execute flanking maneuvers. They demonstrate memory capabilities. The same goose recognized me when I returned to the area days later. Lieutenant Vexaconis processed this information. So, humans, despite being apex predators capable of defeating us in interstellar warfare, maintain a healthy respect for these geese. Precisely. And this taught me something crucial about human psychology. They are not recklessly fearless. They are intelligently cautious. They recognize genuine threats regardless of size or appearance. A human will charge into battle against overwhelming odds because they believe the cause is worth the risk. But they will run from a goose because they understand the cost-benefit analysis of that particular engagement. The cost-benefit of fighting a waterbird? Asked a confused soldier. High probability of injury, zero strategic value, and significant potential for humiliation. Humans are pragmatic above all else. They don't fight geese for the same reason they don't arm wrestle industrial machinery, not because they can't, but because it's pointless. Kitharaneos deactivated the holographic displays and faced his troops. What I learned during my time on Earth is that humans are not the mindless berserkers our propaganda portrayed. They are calculating, intelligent, and capable of recognizing when discretion is the better part of valor. They fear geese, not because they are weak, but because they are smart enough to avoid unnecessary conflict with an opponent that has nothing to lose and everything to prove. The room was quiet for a long moment. Finally, Nexarolith spoke. Sir, does this mean humans are reasonable? Kitharaneos' thin features shifted into something approaching respect. Soldier. Humans are the most unreasonably reasonable species I have ever encountered. They will share their food with you, show you kindness, teach you their culture, and treat you as an honored guest, right up until the moment you threaten something they care about. Then they become the most terrifyingly unreasonable force in the galaxy. And geese, sir? Geese are the opposite. They are unreasonably unreasonable all the time, which is why even humans, who have never met a fight they wouldn't pick with someone their own size, give them a wide berth. Cataranios looked out the viewport at the approaching Earth, its blue surface growing larger by the hour. Remember this, all of you. We fear humans because they defeated us in fair combat and then offered us peace. Humans fear geese because geese don't believe in fair combat and have never offered anyone peace. The lesson being, sir? The lesson, soldiers, is that intelligence means knowing which battles to fight. Humans learned this lesson long ago. Geese never needed to learn it because they win every battle they choose to fight. As the briefing ended and soldiers filed out, Lieutenant Vexaconis lingered behind. Sir, will we be visiting any parks during our diplomatic mission? Catharaneos's expression grew serious. Yes, Lieutenant. And when we do, remember, if the humans start backing away from something, you back away too. Don't ask questions, don't try to assert dominance, just back away. Even from something as small as a goose? Especially from geese, Lieutenant. Especially from geese. Thank you, channel member and Pathfinder Eddie Piszczek, for making this video possible. Many thanks to my channel members and Pathfinders. You all make these videos possible. Thank you for listening to this story. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave this video a like and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. Video shares, memberships, and super thanks help the channel grow as well, so feel free to partner with this channel in that way as we grow. With that all said, thank you again for listening to the story, and thank you for your time. On the left side of your screen are some videos I think you might be interested in. I hope to see you in the next one.